John 9, starting on verse 1. As he was passing by, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Neither this man nor his parents sinned, Jesus answered. This came about so that God's works might be displayed in him. We must do the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. That verse in verse 3 is a little bit problematic because it seems like it's the purpose of the sickness. Neither this man nor his parents sinned, Jesus answered. This came about so that God's work might be displayed in him. It seems like the purpose of the sickness was so that God will be glorified. Now again, that is problematic because it seems like God made this boy born blind, which of course is theologically opposed to the character of God. After he said these things, he spit on the ground, made some mud from the saliva, and spread the mud on his eyes. Go, he told him, wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. So he left, washed, and came back seeing. The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar said, Isn't this the one who used to sit begging? Some said he's the one. Others were saying, No, but he looks like him. He kept saying, I am the one. So they asked him, Then how were your eyes opened? He answered, The man called Jesus made mud, spread it on my eyes, and told me, Go to Siloam and wash. So when I went and washed, I received my sight. Where is he? They asked. I don't know, he said. So we discussed that a little bit this morning. Well, a lot actually. And we went into, we ended into the generational curse because of the question, who sinned, this man or the parents? And Jesus said, neither. And that is when he added the statement that for the glory of God. Now, the way the religious leaders and the world treated this man was indifference and also with no compassion, because he was begging every day. It's like it's like us. I don't really know if we really care much about the beggars nowadays. You know, the first time I saw beggars growing up, it touched me. I was a little boy. It touched me. How can people be doing like that? But as the years go by, it really, you begin to not care. You become indifferent. You know. Nowadays, I still give alms to the beggars, even those who are professing to be beggars. But you know, we have seen some professional ones. But really, unless it's an old person, I really don't feel anything. You know, like, do you really feel compassion for these people? We should feel compassion. But because of lack of compassion, that shows that I have become indifferent. You know. Now, if it's an old lady, I don't care if he's smoking cigarette or what, I still feel compassion. If it's a veteran that has been damaged in battle, I feel a little bit of compassion. But most of these people who goes around, I'm even criticizing them. I was telling my kids before the BLM, the beggars by Pulaski and Peterson are white. After the BLM, they become black. You know, I don't know if it has something to do with that. Maybe they push them out and say, "Well, it's our turf now." But that is what's going on. That's indifference. That's wrong, actually, because I don't feel the compassion. And this is how a lot of people treat beggars. A lot of us treat beggars like that. In fact, the moment you see them, ang lakas-lakas ng katawan, mas malakas pang kumain sa akin yan. You know, we made those things. And some of those people could be really damaged. You know. Jesus felt compassion towards the man. Nobody asked him to heal the guy, but he did it on his own. So let's deal a little bit, as we proceed, on this verse 3 and 4. Whose sin is it? The parents or this man? And Jesus said, neither. This thing happens so that the work of God might be displayed in him. Now, how do we solve that? Well, it's actually simple. Some manuscripts, well, a lot of manuscripts actually, they don't have, maybe we have heard of people say, they edited the text. Now, that's not a bad word, okay? When they change the text, then that's bad. But some manuscripts, like the Unshel manuscript, John tells me it's not Unshel, it's Ansel. I don't know how you pronounce it. My reason is I'm Filipino. You know, I have always pronounced it as Unshel. How do you pronounce it? You don't know the word. Okay, so I can say whatever I want. Huh? But they have manuscripts like that with no spaces. Now, there are several reasons why people have put no spaces in these manuscripts. But one of the reasons that I've read is to save paper, and sometimes to also confuse the readers, those who are unbelievers. I don't know what the valid one is, but the fact is, some manuscripts like that exist without spaces. It's like now with no spacing. Okay. Now, the thing is, somebody will come along and translate it in English and put it in Latin or whatever. And the one copying it, the one editing it, had a lot of freedom on how they put prepositions are and how they cut sentences. That's why in your chapters and verses, you will wonder, why is this chapter 9 now? It should still be part of chapter 8. Well, it's because of these editors. The editors are not inspired. The text itself is inspired. Now, to be consistent with biblical theology and revelation of who God is, actually, I found an alternate translation on verses 3 and 4. They say that the preposition in order that, okay, in order that should not be on verse 3. It should be on verse 4. So, I don't know what translations you have. He proposed that it should be read like this. When asked, whose sin is it? Jesus answered, neither this man sinned nor his parents. That's the answer. Neither this man sinned nor his parents. Okay? After the period, you move on up to verse 4. But that the works of God should be made manifest in him, comma, we must work the works of him who sent me. You see, now that changes the meaning. The word that now is no longer the destiny. Okay? Because if for this reason you were born, that's your destiny. That's your purpose. But if you put it on verse 4, but that the works of God be made manifest in him, we must work the works of him that sent me. Okay? The result of this is this now. It's no longer the purpose, but the result. It's like people argue, did God send Joseph to be sold as slave? Did he tell the brothers? No. They were slaves. But God looked at that slave and said, I'm going to make something out of it. God turned it around for good. I think to illustrate better is this. I was doing I was doing a table. I was working on a table. I've got a nice, I forgot what I used for my tabletop, cherry. I put cherry on my tabletop, and then the legs, I use poplar. I have to put some cleats underneath. Now, cleats are a small piece of wood that you use to screw something in, to attach to it, you know. It's like cleats, you know. How do you explain cleats? Like there's some, tonight is Super Bowl. They wear cleats, right? So these are cleats for woodworking. I don't wanna buy. I need a hardwood for cleats because I'm gonna attach a long screw. So I was thinking, I like mahogany, I like all of those for cleats because they're hardwood. So I was thinking, what am I gonna do? Am I going to buy mahogany just to make them into cleats. Well, I look into the garbage. I found some little piece of wood made out of mahogany and thick. And they are garbage. They are for throw away. But they are the size I need. So I took this and turned them into cleats. I need 4 pieces of cleats, and that's enough for me to turn them into cleats. Now, were those scrap wood made for the purpose of making cleats? No, they are garbage. They're just there. But I look at it and I say, I can do something good out of this. That is not the purpose of those pieces of wood. They are for garbage. They are for throwaway. Whatever somebody else was making, they already made it. These are scrap, But I look at that scrap and I say, oh, they fit what I need right now, so I took them. They were not meant to become cleats, but I turned them into cleats. That's this explanation here, if you understand. It's just like, you buy pancit from where do you buy pancit? From Michelle, and or cake. And she put it in a nice aluminum foil container. Do you know that those aluminum foil containers, they are disposable? You know that, right? Or just in case you don't know, let me tell you something. They are disposable. You know what disposable means? You throw them away. But let me ask you this. Do you throw them away? Just in case, you say. They are not meant to be reused, but you found, not that it's wrong, okay? I'm saying it's not right, but I'm not saying it's wrong, okay? But what you do is you say, I'm going to find purpose for that. Oh, okay. Did somebody give you a gift that you don't like? Huh? What do you do with those gifts? No. You re-gift them. I'm not talking about your gifts that you give to each other last Christmas, okay? I'm just telling you it happened. You don't like the gift, but because it's there, you took the gift and say, I can use this. Especially if somebody tells you, oh, I wish somebody will give me this. Somebody gave me that, but you're excited already. Somebody gave me that. I don't need that garbage. Oh, but he needs it. That gift was given to you for that, but you found reason for that. This man was not born blind to be healed by Jesus. Okay? He was not born blind to be healed by Jesus. That will be a setup. But because Jesus came across him, Jesus said, I can use him to glorify the name of the Lord. It's like this. Satan wasted our lives. Did God want Satan originally to waste our lives? No. He doesn't like Satan to steal, kill, and destroy us. But he found us in that condition. And he said, I can make something out of this life. But he doesn't want us destroyed, but he makes something out of it. Now, lack of knowledge on God's working like that make us justify all the evil that we do. We say, well, it's God's will. No, it's not God's will. He just makes something out of it. Like if I'm working on expensive wood, I don't want anything wasted. I mean, some of you who do something in your house, if you only need 5 drywalls, you don't buy 6. If you only need 6, you don't buy 8. Because everything will be wasted. You try to save as much as possible. But then when a big scrap is left, you are very tentative. Will I throw this? What if I need this tomorrow? You don't. That's already garbage. You will buy a piece of drywall like that. But you are thinking, maybe I can use it for something else. It's already a throwaway, but you found meaning to it. This is what this passage is trying to convey to us. Therefore, blindness becomes an opportunity rather than his destiny. Whatever defect he has became an opportunity in God's hand rather than his destiny. You see, for example, we go back to sickness. We say, well, I was born with diabetes. My family has diabetes. So you made it your purpose. It's your destiny. We call it fate in Eastern philosophy, okay? Well, all of the women in our family so pretty got breast cancer. Our family is doomed. That's our fate. That's our destiny. See, you accepted it as destiny rather than say, I have this problem, congenital problem. I have this defective genes in my body. I have faith. I am going to present it to God as an opportunity for power. Okay? Do not justify whatever evil you did or happened to you or others did for you. Okay? Because I'll tell you this. Not everybody who was sick in the days of Jesus were healed. He did not really go to Syria on the north. He did not spend a lot of time up in the west in Jerusalem. He spent most of his time in the regions of Galilee. Okay? Around, I think, 90% of his ministry is in Galilee. He spent a lot of time, but not everybody in Galilee got healed either. Okay? Meaning, the other people who were sick, their sickness was never used for some reason as an opportunity for the name of the Lord to be glorified. It's like this. We do missions, we help others. We don't help everybody. But those whom we touched, they become an opportunity for us to display the love of God. So Jesus heals the man. The only motive why Jesus healed the man is compassion. Remember that he was never asked to heal the man. Also, when he healed the man, he just had a problem earlier. He healed the man on the Sabbath day. So he is adding fuel to the criticism and the hostility against him. Nobody asked him. Now, this is unusual. So what Jesus did was spat on the ground, made some clay. You say, why did he do that? I really don't know. Although if you read history, it turned out in some of their ancient history, they believe that God uses clay to heal people, in as much as we are made out of clay. And it became a tradition, you see. But Jesus, for some reason, spat on the ground. Now, I know how much spit he used, but that must be a lot, right? Because he made saliva. So I don't think he did. You cannot make mud. Can you make mud out of? So what do you do? I thought you cannot possibly make clay of a little spit, you know. But he made clay, mix it, and then put it on the eyes as a salve. You see, I know why he did that. You see, some people say, well, there must be a medicinal ingredients in the soil. I don't know. You see, do you know? No. Me too. I don't know. You see, but he used that, and then sent the guy to wash in the pool of Siloam. The word Siloam means sent. The man obeyed as instructed. He did not argue with Jesus. He just obeyed. This is one of those things. You did not give me alms. I did not ask for healing. He did not ask for healing. Go wash in the pool of Siloam. Now, I asked you earlier, when did he get healed? I believe when he obeyed, that's when he started getting healed. How can he find this pool of Siloam? I mean, you're blind. And can you imagine the command of Jesus? Put the saliva. Go, wash in the pool of Siloam. He was born blind. Does he even know where Siloam is? Now, he was in the temple, so, or in Jerusalem, maybe close to the temple. If you're in the temple, it's very close. You can walk down, people can guide you. But I am convinced that he's seeing when he start going. And that is the manifestation of faith. Normally, God requires us to do something as He commands us. When we do something, then He began to do something also. He obeyed as He was instructed. If we will learn obedience to the command of the Lord, I believe we will see more miracles. But as Filipinos, we are what we call a sigurista. You know? We really are sigurista. We want to make sure that we get the commitment right away. No faith at all, you see. But here is just pure faith. The healing is undeniable. Nobody who knew the man challenged the reality of the healing miracle. Everyone acknowledged the following facts. Number one, the man was born blind. Number two, he started begging. Now he could see. Now that is a miracle. A miracle of healing is something that heals. Okay? And this is what is being questioned in miracles today. They were not really healed. Years ago, we have a woman in this church, and I was told, oh, Pastor said she got healed of cancer. I said, are you sure? Yes, she was healed of cancer. And my wife, I think, approached me and said, I'm the prodding of some people who knows her, go and have her testify. I said, are you sure? I'm not getting testimonies this morning. Hey, she was healed. She's excited. She wants to testify. So my hands were forced, so I asked for testimony. She testified. She did not say the Lord healed her. Yeah. That's the thing. When you are healed by God, you are healed. How do you know you are healed? You're no longer sick. I think today what is happening is, that's why we can be accused of fake healings. We are forcing people to be healed even when they are not. Now remember, if God heals, He really is. I have been healed by God. I mean, John was asthmatic, right? And he was very happy when he went home one day and says, the doctor, because Anne, am I right? Where's Anne? That asthma is for life, right? Like, don't mean to have it. Answer me. Sometimes you outgrow it. Different from what I heard before. I heard from her before, same person, that the moment she is sick of asthma, you have it. That's what I remember. Now, John did not accept it. And so when the doctor told him, you are healed of asthma, now, did you feel something? Did you shake? He's shaking. I'm telling you, sometimes it's weird. but he was just healed. You see, he was just healed. Now, some people are forcing us to say we are healed when we're not healed. Now, a confession of faith is different. A confession of faith is different. But that is a confession of what you believe. Okay? And you look, when Abraham, well, Abraham did not lose the power, but when Sarah was way past menopause, he was telling God, Lord, may it be, well, the better translation is, let it be Ishmael. Okay, may it be questionable translation. Let it be Ishmael. He's old. He's 100 years old, for goodness sake, And so he was saying, Lord, my wife, Sarah, have you seen Sarah lately? She is old. Now, what is that? He considered his body. And he considered her body. She looked at his wife and said, woman, you're old. Not only are you old, you're dried up. You are not going to have babies anymore. That's why, remember, Sarah even gave Hagar, because prior to that, Sarah looked at her body and said, I'm way past menopause. She faced it. And so, according to tradition, I can give my handmaiden and let Abraham use her as there's a term, surrogate mother, but of course they don't have the medicine. So only the seed of Abraham, you see. But the child will be Sarah's. She went to that because that's the natural, and this is the difference between faith and unbelief. Unbelief, you go back to the natural, even when God didn't give you specific instruction. So Abraham agreed. Abraham is a very moral person, but he agreed, okay, I'm going to take Hagar on your behalf. And she became pregnant. And Sarah continued to age and no baby. Oh, let it be Ishmael. And God says, no. It will be from Sarah. This time next year, she will be holding her baby. What did Sarah do? She laughed. I mean, that's funny, really. You, look at me. I'm almost 100 years old. I'm old, How God preserved her beauty is a miracle. Well, she was a lot younger when they thought she was beautiful. I think she was something like 65 years old. But even then, that's old, you know. But she's around 100 years old now, and Abraham says, "Okay, Lord, my body is old. Sarah is older, you know, and she is way past menopause." He considered his body. That is still faith. But counted the word of the Lord more. He said, "In the natural, Lord, my body is dead, her body is dead. But because you said so, I believe." That is faith. They went to the natural processes. God disclaimed it. No, it's not Ishmael. You see, sometimes in our desire to have a miracle, we are helping God without His instruction. And this is where the testimony comes in. During the whole episode, no error, no fraud was detected. That was a miracle healing that Jesus performed. In fact, it's a miracle healing because it was instantaneous. So now here comes the problem. The moment you have a miracle like this, the religious elite, the religious community with no faith, those people with no faith will oppose you. When I was in college, I was in my Spanish class, and my professor is a Catholic and don't believe in the crusades and the miracles. So he happened to, my Spanish and language teachers, almost all of them are lazy, you know. They say that you're engineering students, so you don't need this. So all of them are just in for the money. The moment you enroll in the class, you pass right away. You don't have to attend, really. But we got in a discussion because Ernest Ainsley was in town, and a lot of miracles are being testified. So he got to discuss it. And he asked us, "Who among you believe in these miracles?" I said, "I do, sir." He said, "I don't believe in those." I said, "Then how will you account, sir, for the miracles?" He said, "It just so happened that they were there. They were really about to get healed. They just so happened to enter into the auditorium when they are about to be healed, and so it's a miracle." I said, "Oh, for a lot of people who get healed at the same time, they entered in the auditorium at the same place, at the same time." But he insists, he chose not to believe. The moment you receive a miracle, okay, people will oppose you. Yeah. Do you know when Anne was given the house by Elizabeth, the Catholic charity was pestering her. I mean, the neighbors were calling. One of the neighbors were telling my wife, "Don't take care of Elizabeth. Don't take care of Elizabeth." You know, and she was being agitated by the visit because Elizabeth was over 70 years old. And I think the moment you reach the age of 70 or 75, legally you are not recognized to have the ability to make decisions. You don't have the intellectual competence. Well, so the Catholics were, and we begin to find we met some inspectors and Filipinos, one of them, and they say, "Oh, the Catholic churches are like, they have antenna. The moment somebody is dying, the state of Illinois had given them the authority." Can you imagine this? That's unconstitutional, in favor of one religion. Had given them the authority to investigate these things. Only one religion, just the Roman Catholic. Boy, they go after your money. Yeah. So my wife says, "What are we going to do?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "We did not ask for this." And that is when the unraveling of the miracle took place. I mean, that lady, I thought she would have been dead longer than when she died. Yeah. But she was rushing on to finish all the legal papers. She got the lawyer. She went out for that. And after she finished everything, that's when she left. And the lawyer looked at Anne and said, Nobody can touch you. She said, you got a favor from that woman. Everything that she needs to do, she has the mental competency certificate from her doctor and everything. She was not supposed, Anne was not supposed to receive an inheritance from her at that age. You see? But then it was challenged. It was challenged. You know, I don't know how many people ask, her relatives will be asking, what did you do? What did you do? What did you force her? What did you do? What did you do? They couldn't believe it. You know, me, I don't have to believe it. I just receive it. You know? But because that's a miracle of provision right there. What did you do? So some people will be asking, what did you do? Why? They want to copy it. You are going through a natural solution to a supernatural activity. I'm telling you, you can go out of your neighborhood right now and find an old lady pushing a garbage bin. Let's see if you can get an inheritance. You can wake up in the morning tomorrow, if it's garbage day collection, and look for an old lady struggling in the cold. Can I help you? See if they give you something. But that is how it started. It is a miracle process, but it is something that I told Anne, I mean, the old lady wants to give her all the money. By the way, all the jewelries. They were giving her, she was giving her jewelries. And I told Anne, don't touch it. You know the jewelries that she was giving, they are real jewelries. They are not funny jewelries. Oh, fancy. They are not. They're not fancy jewelries, you know. They're not. And she died. I told her, don't touch anything. The daughter came, and the first thing that she took was the box. It has all the jewelries. She was giving her those jewelries. She was giving her money. I said, don't touch it. I said, because I think the daughter deserves to receive an inheritance, you know. I said that. But that's how it happened. I did not help at all physically. Okay. That's why some of you don't look for an old lady tomorrow pushing garbage bin. Don't do that, because what you're going to be doing is you're looking for natural means to receive. What you have to do is to ask God for provision. How He will give you the provision is the supernatural. You know, we were talking with, I don't know who's this lady. She was a caregiver, and she said, Ma'am Ann, this doctor that I was taking care of before, she really wants to give me money. But my agency kept telling me, you cannot receive anything. I remember upon hearing that, I smile and say, you have an ignorant agency. I said, and Ann says, next time somebody wants to give you something, talk to us. Perhaps we can help you. Because now we know the process. We don't know the process before. You see what I'm saying? Now, what you have to be watchful is this. You cannot force miracles. It's no longer a miracle. Say DJ is already a millionaire, you know. And she got new clients that she touched, every touch $500, you know. She says she's a doctor already. And you heard she's money. And you need money. So you come to her and say, Sister DJ, I need a miracle. You know, you might as well say, Mr. DJ, I need a song, you know. But you say, Sister DJ, I need them. Can you please pray for me? I need $1,000. Well, you know, she just got $50,000 bonus. So you ask her, can you please pray for me? You're actually convicting her. What are you doing? You are using natural means to motivate somebody. Yeah. So she was touched out of her emotion and she gave you, and you call it a miracle. No, it's not a miracle. It's not a miracle. It is not a miracle. You instigated, you planned the whole thing. I'll tell you what a miracle is. You talk to God and God answers. It happened to me several times. I don't know how many people told me, oh, Pastor, say, tell me what you need. You're not God. I will tell them, you're not God. You know, I don't pray to you. And there's a couple of situations wherein they gave me the amount, people gave me the amount that I need. I never told them. Never told them. Yeah. That's why I don't follow up on these things. Because I don't want to do the natural. You see? But when you receive a miracle, it's a real miracle. Nobody can take it away from you. Listen, when God heals you, you are really healed. Okay? You are really healed. So here's the interrogation. Verse 13. They brought the man who used to be blind to the Pharisees. The day that Jesus made the man and opened his eyes was a Sabbath. This is what I think we have to be very careful about, and where we have to really use our faith in terms of miracles. Do not ask, do not settle for fake. Fake looks like the original, but they're still fake. Okay? Now, some people like fake. They'll be on magazine, but you will never get the original. Listen, when God heals you, when God does a miracle in your life, it's a real miracle. It's not a fraud. It's a real miracle. Believe me, I have received miracles from, it's just like when the Lord speaks to you. He speaks to you. Don't force His voice when He's not speaking to you. You have to seek it. And the way it was a phrase, seek my face, it requires an effort. Because I explained to you, through the generations that led to the confusion of tongues, people in Romans chapter 1, God has been speaking to us and we don't want your voice. That happened in the nation of Israel. We don't want your voice. So He used prophets. Because we don't want Him to speak to us. He used prophets as a result. But He really wants to speak to us. But you have to seek His face. You cannot be saying, I'm praying while watching television. What is that? You can't be reading your Bible and then say, oh, I'm spending time with God, and then eating your breakfast. How are you going to concentrate on that one? And then your wife overcooked the bacon and you get angry while reading the Bible. It doesn't work. What God wants is for you to have a solid time with Him. And we have to go back to that and believe God for miracles. He put mud on his eyes and told them, I washed and I see. Some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God because he doesn't keep the Sabbath. But others were saying, how can a sinful man perform such signs? And there was a division among them. Again, they asked the blind man, what do you say about him, since he opened your eyes? He is a prophet, he said. The Jews did not believe this about him, that he was blind and received sight, until they summoned the parents of the one who had received his sight. They asked them, is this your son? The one you say was born blind, how then does he now see? We know this is our son and that he was born blind. His parents answered, but we don't know how he now sees. We don't know who opened his eyes. Ask him. He's of age. He will speak for himself. His parents said these things because they were afraid of the Jews, since the Jews had already agreed that if anyone confessed him as the Messiah, he would be banned from the synagogue. This is why his parents said, he's of age, ask him. So a second time they summoned the man who had been blind and told him, give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner. They started with give glory to God and then accuse Jesus of being a sinner. He answered, whether or not he's a sinner, I don't know. One thing I do know, I was blind and now I can see. So they asked him, what did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? I already told you, he said, and you didn't listen. Why do you want to hear it again? He was being agitated now. You don't want to become his disciples too, do you? They ridiculed him. You're the man's disciple, but we're Moses' disciples. We know that God has spoken to Moses, but this man, we don't know where he's from. This is an amazing thing, the man told them. You don't know where he is from, and yet he opened his eyes. We know that God doesn't listen to sinners, but if anyone is God-fearing and does his will, he listens to him. Throughout history, no one has ever heard of someone opening the eyes of a person born blind. If this man were not from God, he wouldn't be able to do anything. You were born entirely in sin, they replied, and you're trying to teach us. Then they threw him out. So the miracle happened on the Sabbath day. It's supposed to be a day of celebration and freedom. But the Pharisees managed to turn this day into a day of grief. Do you know that other people's miracle, you can turn it into a day of grief if you are religious? Somebody is just enjoying, worshiping the Lord. He finally came to the house of God. And somebody will come to you and say, para ka namang sira, pakanta-kanta ka riyan. You turn the celebration into grief. There are some people who are good at that. They are good in pouring cold water on your head when you're very happy. I know why some people have. That's not a ministry. That's a curse, I think. You're very happy. You're celebrating, and then they just pour cold water on you. And the guy was healed. He was born blind. This is the first time he was able to see. But let's observe his testimony. It's a model for our testimonies. The one who was healed. First of all, it was very positive. Look, when you are healed, you tell, look, I was born blind. I was begging. This man put mud on my eyes. Then he told me, go wash in the pool of Siloam. I obeyed. Now I'm healed. What's not clear about that? You see, this is my problem sometimes when in any testimonies. What did the Lord do to you? Well, 15 years ago, I was walking and I fell. And I have to buy new shoes. And my wife was very angry with me. What has got to do with it, And then finally I say, I'm still believing God for healing. You are not healed. What are you talking about then? What are you testifying about? You are not healed. This guy just simply said, I was born blind. I was begging. He made mud, put it in my eyes, told me, go wash. I washed. I'm healed. Positive. You see? Our testimony should be positive. It's positive because it's talking about what God did on your life. He was not rehearsing the testimony also of someone else. This is my testimony. Some testimonies, that person on television, he got healed, and I'm really believing God for healing. No, don't testify about his testimony. You don't know his testimony. Some people who testify for others don't know what happened. You stop testifying about others unless you heard the testimony first. Like I can tell you some of the testimonies of Leslie Samuel, Kenneth E. Hagin, because I've heard them talk about their testimony. But don't testify for others. You don't know what happened. You may be embarrassed. You may be embarrassed. You may call it a miracle, but they may not call it a miracle. Have you ever volunteered that before? Oh, there's a miracle. And they say, what miracle? They don't recognize it as a miracle. Don't testify for them. So he's not sharing other people's testimonies. He did not say, well, do you remember the man with the woman with an issue of blood? Or that leader of the synagogue that was healed? Like them, I'm healed. No, he doesn't care about those things. He doesn't know those things. He just simply say, the Lord healed me. What is a testimony? What God did for your life, People ask me, how come you always illustrate your family? Because that's my family. Unless I know exactly what God did. For all intents and purposes, I may be saying God did a miracle for Liza, but she doesn't recognize it's a miracle. And so she talk to other people, that's not really a miracle. What happened? It discredits my testimony. Concentrate on your own testimony. What God did for your life. Okay? Not other people's testimony. Jesus put mud on my eyes, I washed, and I can see. This is first-hand knowledge. Therefore, his witness could not be set aside. Did it really happen to you? I remember Dr. Ben Cummins, I don't know if he's already dead. He was having back problem, and he told us in the class, it's so painful he was walking like this already. He's a Baptist, Southern Baptist, and they don't believe in healing. They were in a cruise ship. And during the time, there's a mighty revival going on in Fuller Theological Seminary under Peter Wagner, Charles Kraft. These are people who were exploring miracles. This is a phenomenal class on sign and wonders. They begin, Peter Wagner, along with other theologians, read reports of the Pentecostals on God's miracles. And these are Presbyterians, these are Calvinists, they don't believe in miracles. So Peter Wagner with Charles Kraft started a course. It's called Signs and Wonders. No textbooks, no teachings, nothing. But it's a course. And they were surprised because there were a lot of students who came. And they said, this is how Peter Wagner told the story. He said, something is happening in Africa, something is happening in Asia. There are miracles of healing. And he said, we don't understand this. But we want to understand this. So he gathered some students with Charles Kraft and began to say, hey, listen, there's a phenomenon among the Pentecostals and the Charismatics called healing. And he said, I don't know why it is. So this class is for us to explore that. And then he said, if you know something, heard something, experienced something like this, please share. And students begin to share. And at the end of the class, Peter Wagner will say, well, if you are sick, I don't know if it will work, but let's pray. And then one day they were doing that, somebody got healed in the class. And then another got healed. It became a real class on signs and wonders. So Ben Cummins was having these problems, he told us, and said they were in the boat, and Charles Kraft accompanied him in the deck and says, you know, Ben, in Fuller we started a course called Signs and Wonders. We don't know what we were doing, but we heard the reports. And Ben, I know it's against our theology, but people start getting healed. Now, these are fellow PhDs, so they respect each other. So Ben Cummins says, so what do you mean? He said, why don't you let me pray for you? I lay hands on you. That's what the Bible says. This is what we're doing in the class. And let's see if something will happen. They don't even have faith. And Ben Cummins said this. Charles Kraft laid hands on his back, and as soon as the hands were laid, he said, I felt electricity surge through my body from the top of my head to the tip of my tongue. He said, and instantly, I was like this. I'm straight, totally healed. So he went to ATS, Asian Theological Seminary, one of my schools that I went to. And he told the board, he said, I want to teach a course on signs and wonders. And they told him, Ben, that's over. God doesn't do it anymore. And he said, hey, listen, I know it's over. That's my theology also, but this is what happened to me. And they dismiss him. No, you're not going to have that. And he says, yeah, but my testimony is, before I was like this, and I'm in pain, now I'm healed. And he told it to us in the class. Nobody can refute him. Okay? Nobody can refute him. I believe in healing, but I do believe that we should not fake it. I do believe that it can be medically verified. Jesus at times said, go show yourself to the priests, the doctors. You know. We can believe God for miracles. We have a few miracles. Remember at one time we have a member here, she could not be pregnant because, how do you call that? Ectopic, something like that? Entopic, ectopic. No topic, you know. What is that? Outside, right? And I think, ilan ba ang matris ng babae? Isa lang ba? Akala ko dalawa. Wala kasi akong matris di ba? So hindi ko alam. So, supposedly, yung matris niya, the matris, ano ba sa English yung matris? Ovary pala yun. Alam ko yung ovary. It's damaged. Well, remember we have a day of prayer and fasting she came. And I asked this couple, why are you here? And said, well, we're believing God by this time next year, my wife is holding her baby. She couldn't get pregnant. Yeah. I think she got pregnant and then miscarriage. Yeah. Following year, January, she was holding her baby. And then she got pregnant again. You know what that is? Miracle. She had miscarriage before. It's called a miracle. You know, after they received the 2 miracles, they left the church. Well, at least they have the miracle. Yeah. But these are amazing things that happen. There are a few more miracles that took place. And maybe sometimes I'm very dismissive because I have seen a lot of fakes. But these are real miracles that God performed in our house. You see? And this can be verified. And so we have to believe God for that. Now, both aspects of his testimonies are factual and personal. This kind of testimony, factual and personal, are adequate witness to Christ. When you have a testimony that is factual and personal, it encourages, it generates faith. I mean, look, when I testify that, John testified also, that the Lord healed him, that is supposed to be generating faith. It can encourage people. When we testify that, that's why I report to you when my kids get accepted to school, when we change things, when they get scholarship. Why do I keep testifying these things? Because I want to generate faith among you. Very excited when Anne received the inheritance. Because you are seeing the glory of God manifesting among us. Because when God starts doing miracles like that, and I have shared this to you so many times, it doesn't only mean God is doing miracle in my life. What it means is God is doing miracle in our house, this house. That's why it should encourage you, it should generate faith and say, I want my miracle. You know? And so now you're seeing it. Don't go back to the natural. Ask God for His intervention. Boy, I'm encouraged when somebody says, well, I'm buying a house, I rejoice. Because that's what God is doing among us. And I worship God for that. And I say, Lord, I'm waiting for mine. I say, I'm waiting for mine. I'm waiting for mine. I don't question the veracity. I don't doubt. I don't do those things. But I allow it to encourage my heart. When you receive a testimony, do not take the attitude that the Pharisees took. And that is, they question it. They don't believe it. They dismissed it. So God is doing something in Israel during that time. In the house of Jacob, God is doing something. They did not receive anything. Three groups questioned the healed man. The neighbors, the parents were questioned, and the Pharisees. Every time you push this man, he held on to his testimony. That's why you know that his experience is real. For example, if you say, well, God healed me, and you are not really healed, did God really heal you? Oh, bakit? Why are you coughing? I thought God healed you. Oh, and so you back off. And then you say, from I'm healed, I am believing God for healing. Oh, you're no longer credible. You see, that's why it's not factual, and it's not consistent, it's not faithful. So it damages our testimonies. It's just like you're sharing to people, you're born again, you're very zealous. Hey, live right, do right, you know. And then you turn around and you commit adultery. Your testimony is not credible. You see? Hey, your son is very undisciplined. Correct your son. Then turn around and see your son very undisciplined. You lost credibility. You see? That's why your testimony has got to have the factual element, the consistency element. Now listen to this. They pushed him, but the more they pushed him, he kept introspecting and say, but I was really born blind. Why are these people? It made his faith progress. Listen, true persecution has the potential of deepening your faith. Because when you are being persecuted, you dig deeper. You know, it's like I'm struggling in the ministry, and I say, did God really call me to the ministry? So now I'm questioning the voice of God in my heart. Did God question me? I told you the testimony. I was very sick. I was coming from the Bible school. I was standing like this, leaning against the wall of our up and down apartment in the Votas. And I was getting sick. I was taking engineering, and I was going home at around 12:30 midnight. I was doing children's ministry. I was a deacon, and I was just sick. I was leaning against the wall like that. And I said, I became self-righteous in my attitude. I said, who among the children of God do what I'm doing? You know that you're going off the wall when you're talking like that. I said, who among the children of God will do what I'm doing? I'm getting sick here. I'm a youth leader. I'm a children's minister. I'm a deacon. I'm studying in engineering, and I'm taking Bible school. I said, who does this? And I'm getting sick. I was just muttering like that. Whoa. As soon as I said that, the word of the Lord came to my heart. Because I was thinking of quitting. I said, I'm just going to drop this. It shoot in my spirit, in my belly, and the word of the Lord came to me and says, it is too foolish for you to quit now. And as soon as the word of the Lord came to me like that, it's like a film. It flashed on my memory. The witnessing that I have done, the testimonies I have given, all wasted if I quit now. A few seconds. And after that, I braced myself. I'm going to continue. You see, when your faith is under pressure and you receive from God, it generates more faith. Because when you dig, you know God did something for your life. That's why backsliding is, you know God did something for your life, and you turn your back. God did not do it. You begin to attribute something that God did to somebody else. That is equivalent to blasphemy. You see? When God did something and you say somebody else did. This guy was just healed. He's got little faith. They pushed him. He dug deeper and said, I was really blind. I mean, who can take that away from you? I was really blind. And he held on. His faith got increased. He kept seeing. While the Pharisees, because they chose unbelief, they keep getting blind. Listen. When you have a choice to believe or not to believe, and you choose not to believe, you will continue to get more and more blinded. That's why when you begin to question what is right and true before to you, the Bible says this, it was right, it was true. You used to believe that. When you begin to question that, you will lose it. Yeah, you will lose it. You will begin to say, why will I keep my virginity? Why will I live right? Those people are also churchgoers. They jump all over the place, and they're still worshiping. Maybe some of them are leaders in their churches. What's the difference? So you begin to lose. You deteriorate. You see, you deteriorate. And then you begin to say, well, everything is the same. Everybody, you deteriorate. You begin to justify your wrongdoing. That's another step to backsliding. Do not underestimate that. That's how the devil tries to steal from you. And the moment you begin to question like that, what happened? Because of persecution, you begin to lose your joy. But this guy is energetic. Well, you want to become his disciples also? He became very insulted. He was insulted by their insults. You know, this guy is a sinner. Who cares? He said. Who cares? You call yourself righteous, but you guys weren't able to heal me. He began to, do you want to become his disciples too? We are Moses' disciples. And then they excommunicated him. When they excommunicate him, you will not find a sorry attitude. When the healed man was asked for his opinion on who Jesus is, after all of this questioning, he said this. He took a new step. He said, he is a prophet. You see how he is Jesus. The man, he is Jesus, he is a prophet. His faith under pressure just kept getting deeper and deeper. Now, if we go to verses 18-34, which we read, we see the reaction of unbelief from the Pharisees, while this man's progress in faith. Instead of being discouraged about his healing, his faith grew immediately. The same reaction that Paul had. Remember, Paul just got born again. He met Jesus. How in the world are you going to contest that? I saw a vision. I heard a voice. The fellow Jews, the fellow Pharisees with me, they fell on their horses. They heard a noise, but the voice was inarticulate for them. It's just like a sounding gong for them. But I heard it, and they pushed him. They want to kill him. What happened? Paul dug deeper and said, but I heard the voice. I saw the vision. And then as he probed deeper, what did he do? He went back from his memory on the knowledge of the Scriptures. Things become clear. This is the Messiah. And the more they pushed him, the more he dug deeper, the more he seeked God, the more Jesus talked to him, the more he learned, the more he grew. He outgrew the 12 apostles. You see, he outgrew the 12 apostles. That is the right reaction to persecution. Listen, our faith here will be under pressure. Your testimonies will be questioned. You have to hold on and stand on it. The parents got scared and said, he's old. Oh, they don't want to be excommunicated. They love their religion more than they love their son. They appreciate their religion more than they appreciate the healing. They could not even rejoice with their boy. This boy was born blind. They could not even rejoice. What a pity, you see, because of religion. And so they finally surrender and say, well, he's old. We know he was blind. The process why he was healed, he's old. Ask him. So they did not excommunicate him. But they disciplined this guy. Now, historically, there are two types of discipline. Number one, they will discipline you to temporarily give you time so that you can repent. Meaning, change your testimony. I'm going to remove you from the synagogue. Now remember, the origin of the synagogue is through faith. God really spoke to Moses. I am going to censure you. I'm going to say, it's just like political persecution right now. You see a lot of conservatives, some of them voted for the impeachment of Trump. The pressure is too much for them to handle. So they change. You see. But the pressure is too much to handle. The same thing will happen to us. The devil will challenge your testimony. They will put doubt. You better know what, you guys, the Lord changed your life. You know it when the Lord changed your life. Some of us may be changing and because of pressure going back to what we were. But He changed our lives. We know that. God changed my life. I may be young when I got saved, but God changed my life. I cannot deny that. God cleansed my lips. God cleansed my mind. God changed my dreams. God changed the direction of my life. These are testimonies of what happened to me. The second is, so the first, temporary exclusion. The second type of persecution is permanent expulsion, which they will pronounce a curse on you. The Pharisees did that. That's why you will notice that when Paul disciplined the adulterous, the incestuous relationship in Corinth, he applied this. You know, he disciplined them, but it was temporary because they repented. That's very Pharisaic. The term banned from the synagogue, listen to this, historically now, application, because John was writing this to fellow Christians, and he was already old. The closing of the century, he wrote the book. Now, we know what happened already. The Christians were under persecution. Nero was on a rampage. Paul was beheaded. Okay? Peter was crucified upside down. Christians were being fed to lions. So when he used the term banned from the synagogue, this phrase only occurs in the Gospel of John. It occurs again in chapter 12, verse 42, and in chapter 16, verse 2. This tells me that in the first century, Jewish Christians were being banned from the synagogues. And so John was telling the people, this happened in the times of Christ. This man born blind, there was really a miracle. He was banned from the synagogue. The Pharisees were making threats, we will excommunicate you. The same technique. Do you know that some Christians, they're very scared of being banned from their churches? They cannot follow God. Yeah. I will touch that next week when we talk about the Lord is my shepherd. Okay? And some people are being banned from their businesses, from their families. Now, let's read the remaining passage, okay? On seeing the light. Verse 35. Jesus heard that they had thrown the man out, and when he found him, he asked, do you believe in the Son of Man? Who is he, sir, that I may believe in him? He asked. Jesus answered, you have seen him. In fact, he is the one speaking with you. I believe, Lord, he said, and he worshipped him. Jesus here did not reject the worship. Jesus said, I came into this world for judgment in order that those who do not see will see, and those who do see will become blind. Wow. Some of the Pharisees who were with him heard these things and asked him, we aren't blind too, are we? If you were blind, Jesus told them, you wouldn't have sinned. But now you say, we see, your sin remains. Now, this is a phenomenal passage. Upon hearing what the Pharisees did to the man healed from congenital blindness, Jesus was moved with compassion, and this is what he did. He found the man. Look, the guy is now all alone. The synagogue threw him out, and he went to his parents. Hey, boy, you better examine your testimony. We are being threatened to be thrown out also. So his parents were angry. So he walked alone. By the way, that's why we Christians, we were meant to be part of a community of believers. Alone, it'll be very difficult. We were not saved to be alone. No solitary disciples. God put us in a body. So one of the things that the enemy will do to you, to discourage you, is to take you out of fellowship. Some people say, well, I need to have time alone. You are so blind. The devil is isolating you now. And the moment he isolates you, you are a prey to the predator. So they isolate him. This guy, what did Jesus do? He looked for him. And then he found him. Then he asked the man pointed personal question. Do you believe in the Son of Man? Now, he already believed in his heart. But now, there is a moment of confession. Do you believe in the Son of Man? Look, the man did not give an immediate answer. Instead, he asked, who is he that I may believe him? Who is he that I may believe him? And Jesus said, well, the one talking to you, in fact, is he. Lord, I believe. Then worship him. This is faith. Now, let me conclude this. First of all, the miracle illustrates the consequences of belief and unbelief. The moment you give your life to Jesus, okay? You are walking in the life of sin. The moment you give your life to Jesus, you turn around and you keep moving. But now you are progressing in the faith. The moment you are persecuted or the moment you walk in doubt, you are turning around again. That's called backsliding. Okay? And one of the first things that the devil will do to you, you will stop reading the Bible. You will stop fellowshipping. You will become isolated. The moment you become isolated, your mind now becomes the playground of the devil. He puts things in your head. Who is there to counter it? Nobody. But the moment you do that, you become full of yourself, so you reason with yourself. You reason within yourself without the scriptures. What you have is human thought, not God's thought. You continue to slide. That's what happened to the Pharisees. That's why, and the Jews, that's why in spite of all the miracles that God did in their life, they kept, and Jesus said, now because you claim that what you are doing, you claim you can see. Meaning you can see clearly what you're doing to me. You're planning to kill me, and you think it's okay. Now you are in sin. The moment you consciously do something that is out of the scriptures, you are no longer growing in the Lord. You are growing in sin. That's the process of unbelief. Persistent faith, though through healing here, he can see physically. But look at this guy. He saw physically, but his sight, his eyes, kept growing. Now, he cannot only see physically, he can see spiritually. God opens your eyes physically or does a miracle. That's a gateway to spiritual truth. Because the Lord healed you, you can see. Now you get the greater miracle. And his sight, look, this man made some clay. This man is not a sinner until he is a prophet, until he is the Son of Man. I believe, and he worshiped. You see the growth? But the Pharisees, from being hostile, let's trap him, let's kill him. You see? When your progress is on the area of unbelief, that's backsliding. When your progress is in the area of faith, that's maturity. No matter how little. Look, this is just in a couple of days. The man progressed from one step of faith to another until Jesus revealed himself. First, Jesus revealed himself as a compassionate physician. Then he revealed himself as a prophet. He got in his heart. Then he revealed himself as the Messiah. I am the Son of Man. And received his worship. The unbelief of the Pharisees began with the misunderstanding of the law and therefore the person of Jesus Christ. Hey, listen, be very careful when you question the scriptures. Yeah. Be very careful. When you begin to think you're very smart, you can explain away the scriptures. That's what the Pharisees did. They begin to misunderstand the law. You misunderstand the book, you will misunderstand the person of Jesus Christ. That's why you have some Christians today who believe that Jesus is okay with same-sex marriage. They misunderstood the scriptures. These people will continue to grow in unbelief. You have to be very careful with these people. How do we treat them, pastors? Treat them like infidels. You see them, you witness to them. Pride also prevents learning. When you are full of pride, it doesn't matter how good a teacher is, it will prevent you from learning. The Pharisees still claim that they are not blind. The only problem with this is they really could not see. They are unable to discern even their own failures. Listen, you know how blind a person is when they cannot even see that they are already failed. Yeah. You know what they say is crazy? Crazy is when you keep doing the same thing and you're expecting a different result. That is madness. If you're doing something, it's not working. You're doing something wrong. It's not working. It's like when I was looking for my change of status here. We read something in the immigration INS journal, and I told her, let's try this. We tried that. It didn't work. We stopped trying the same thing. We had a lawyer one time, and this lawyer, my goodness, he bills you by the minute. He tells you his rate per hour, only to find out, don't say hello to him. The moment he picks up the phone, the meter is counting. And we will be billed like we talk for 2 minutes. So a lawyer like that, you don't want to talk to him because he billed you per minute. Well, we spent something like over $1,000 on him, and it didn't work. You know what? We didn't hire him again. Yeah, because it didn't work. That's how we hired Friedman, because it didn't work. You see, when something is not working, stop doing it, okay? Unless, of course, you're not doing it right, according to specs. It's not working, stop doing it that way. You've got to find the right way. The Pharisees, they thought they're very smart. So they will debate with Jesus, they will send spies, they will argue with him. They fall flat on their faces. It didn't work. They keep doing it. They trapped him. They put all kinds of setup to destroy him. Nothing works. They should have the sense to say, maybe what we're doing is wrong. We have, look, you can apply it on a level. As a student, if you are not passing, your method is wrong. You have to change it. You have to modify it. You know, if you're still not passing, well, maybe it's not your course. Maybe you're forcing it. Because some things are for you, some things are not for you. The problem is when you keep pushing and you're no longer enjoying it, why are you doing it? It's like failed relationships. You know, every time you come together, you're fighting. Break up. Because if you're fighting right now, the moment you get married, you will divorce. I mean, before you get married, you're already killing each other. You get married, you're done. You see? You keep swiping your credit card. I know, and you claim you have faith. But every time you do that, you go into bankruptcy. It's a failed system. You've got to change. You see? You have to change something that is not working. But unbelief and pride prevents a person. In fact, they say, we know what we're doing. We can see. You know, most people who go to hell, they're very sure that there is no God. They even write books about it. You know, psychologists who are crazy, they're very sure they're not crazy. They even counsel some people, but they are crazy. You see? They are not sure. And this is when you begin to appreciate the practicing doctors and the practicing lawyers. Well, this is the best method, but if it fails, you're dead. You know? Well, we think we have to cut your heart open, okay? But if it's wrong, you will not wake up anymore. It gives you the like my mother was supposed to have a knee. What's that? A knee or hip replacement, right? She's over 70 years old. And so we asked some of you here, and we were told, oh, don't have your mother go through that operation because her body can no longer heal as fast, and she will need a lot of medication, she will need a lot of antibiotic. Can your mother still walk? Yes. Let her enjoy it. Put her on wheelchair, because if you cut open her you know, it could be more problematic. My mother wants, I think, the hip or I don't know, hip or knee replacement. And I counseled her. I said, no, don't do that. Well, she can still walk. She can still walk. Yeah. She can still walk. While others who forced it at an old age, they can no longer walk. I remember my doctor because I have extra bones on my 2 feet. You know, I told my kids I'm a mutant. You know, and it's balanced. I have extra bone on the right and on the left. So the doctor, my podiatrist, told me, "Is it painful?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Mr. Nationalis, we should remove the other bone. But he said, notice, if we remove the bone, I will replace it with plastic. Now that I don't understand. You will remove something to replace it. These practicing doctors, they are really practicing, you know. So they told me, we have to remove this. After removing this, we will replace it with plastic. And said, the problem with plastic when you put it in your feet is it can be dislocated easily. You bump it, then I have to open it again. And she asked me, how old are you now? During the time I was 55 years old. You're 55. Let me ask you, sir, how is the pain level? Can you endure it? I told the doctor, bad question, because I have a high threshold for pain. Oh, you mean you can live with it? I can live with it. And she told me this, don't remove the bones. She said, sir, you are 55 years old. You have endured this pain all these years. Endure it. Take some steroids. I said, I don't like steroids because I get fat. Then don't take steroids. He said, just endure the pain. He said, replace your shoes. Find the most comfortable shoes. Don't save money on your shoes. You've got to find the most comfortable shoes. But I can open that feet. But the moment I open it, I will keep opening it. At least there's honesty. And so I don't want to be going back to the doctor every quarter and say, oh, I hit something. And in our house, I will hit something. So knowing that, I opted, and you know, I'm okay. I'm okay. After that conversation, I'm okay. This is what I'm saying. You have to accept when you are doing something wrong and it's not working. You have to accept it. If something is not working and you keep claiming you know what you're doing, you're worse than a blind person. No, I do construction, but I think I understand it a little bit more now. I did a little bit of work on it. Plumbing. I don't like plumbing. Yeah. I don't like plumbing at all. I won't touch it. I won't do drywall because my arm, the moment I start doing the same motion, it just drops. It loses the strength. You know, so I stopped doing it. I'll hire somebody to do it. Why? Because I tried to do it to save $5. What happened? The pain it gives me is too much. I'll pay you $50 just so that I will. And you know, when I do it like that, I have no pain. You see, when something is not working, you have to be honest about it. But don't be doing something wrong and it's not working and you're saying, I'm doing it by faith. No, you're doing it out of your persistent unbelief because faith works. In this story, it turned out at the end, the one who can really see was the blind man. And the one who were really blind were the seeing Pharisees. Look, he's blind. Jesus made a mud, okay? Put it in his eyes and say, go wash. What will you do if you're that blind person? And I spit on the ground and put it in your eyes. Maybe you'll ask somebody to beat me up. But the guy was born blind. And he said, a mud will do me no harm. Let him apply as much mud as he wants. I will wash as many times as he wants. I am blind anyways. You lose nothing. And he tried it for the first time. Lo and behold, faith works. You see? Our problem is persistency on wrong. We don't even do the right. And I'll go back to what I've been teaching about truth. Do you really want the truth? Because it will require responsibility. That's why people choose the lie. Amen? Okay, I'm done. Let's call the ushers.